Well, then let's get into this.
Let's dig in.
Recap last season for me. So last season, they made the playoffs. I was actually bullish on the Giants last year from a betting standpoint and bullish on Saquon Barkley. They made me a lot of money, especially this first part of the season here, where they had all these wins up until they went up to Seattle and lost. It was kind of that was a weird trip for them there.
It was.
Terrible game, turnovers. I mean, it's up in Seattle. Anything happens up there. But during this stretch, when people were kind of doubting the Giants, I was riding them on the money line, taking the points with them, all that stuff, and they got it done. And then they hit a little snag here, but enough to limp into the playoffs. How'd you feel about last season?
Like you said, out of the gates, the Giants started off strong. I think we were 6-1 to start off the season. And, man, it was Brian Dable knows what he's doing. Our GM, Joe Schuin, he's just a mastermind. And I still believe those things. Yeah, we had some bumps and bruises along the way. Obviously, that tie against Washington was bullshit. And the fact that Washington, so on this is the Giants schedule. So we did Washington, Philly, and then Washington. But for the Redskins, they went Giants bye week, Giants. So they had essentially 3 full weeks to prepare for the Giants, and we still came out there with a win against them the second time around.
I was on them that week because everyone was betting the Redskins on here because of the tie, and they're like, oh, they're rested, and the Giants, I think, had to go on the road, and then had to go on the road again. No, I guess no, they were home. They're home against Philly, but I took the point. It was
at Philly. Home against Philly and then at Washington. Yeah.
I took the points though because the line moved way too much. I think I got 4.5, but I also bet the money line, and sure enough, they pulled it out. I believe it was towards the end of the game that they got that touchdown and kind of sealed the deal. But good season for them.
And I think there was a lot of it was a lot of turnover from the previous regime. Some of the stuff we were locked up with certain players like Kenny Golladay, who took a big cap hit. We couldn't necessarily sign a lot of players. We had our rookie wide receiver Robinson, is it Wan'Dale Robinson? Robinson. Anyway, he came out of Kentucky. He tore his ACL in the preseason. He had a lot of high hopes. This fast little guy, and he tore his ACL in the preseason. We had Kenny Golladay, who is just a bum, and then Darius Slayton, who nearly got cut by the Giants, was supposed to be like one of our number one wide receivers. He nearly got cut in preseason. We kept him. We kept him on our 53-man roster, and we didn't really have a true number one wide receiver until we just happened to pick up Isaiah Hodges. What the fuck's his name? Isaiah
Hodges. Yeah. Hodges. And it was Wan'Dale Robinson. Yep.
Isaiah Hodges, we picked up off of waivers. He was released by Buffalo. We picked him up, and he became our number one wide receiver. Like, just insane. Darius Slayton started actually producing. And this was really last season was really Saquon's first year back healthy from his ACL tear that he suffered 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he was back, but he wasn't the Saquon that we knew. Last year was his first really good year back healthy from that ACL tear, and it showed. And it's a shame that we couldn't get a long-term deal done with him. I mean, obviously he's happy he came back. He signed the 1-year deal, and I'm sure as long as he produces this season, he will probably earn a long-term contract, or at least like a 3 or 4 year contract, because let's face it, the NFL knows, GMs know, the shelf life on running backs is not long at all, and Saquon is about hitting that peak of his gameplay as far as, before he starts to, take all those massive hits, and, he's just not going to have the same legs as he used to. But this year, we got a lot of Joe Schuin guys coming in. We got a lot of Joe Schuin making these epic trades. I mean, just look at, we got Bobby Okereke in there, Darren Waller.
We're going to get into all that. All that. I just want to ask you, how excited were you on that playoff win?
Playoff win. The playoff win.
A little revenge against Minnesota this
Yeah. So we played Minnesota. You see there, week 16,
right? Yeah,
Yep, week 16, we played Minnesota. It was a very close game. Honestly, in my personal opinion, one of the best games that we actually played that season. It was such a competitive game.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that we were going to, because first, the way just things lined up, we were actually looking like we were going to go to San Fran. And I did not want to go to San Fran. I'm like, that says danger all over it. But then just the way that things finished up at the end of the season, all of a sudden now we're going to Minnesota. And I was like, I know we can beat them. I know we can beat them because the game was so close. We were just a hair off. They won by a last-second field goal in that Week 16 game.
That was the story of their whole season. They kept winning those one-score last-second games, and we're like, they can't keep doing this. And sure enough, they couldn't.
Yeah. So, and then Daniel Jones had himself a hell of a game in that Minnesota playoff game. I mean, look, he
really earned his contract in that game.
Yes, 80 yards rushing, 300 passing yards. That is just insane. So I felt really good, but then having to go to Philly, in my opinion, last year and still even this year, they have one of their roster has so much depth. They have so much depth. Like even their backups are just fucking phenomenal. And
the players they were able to get in the first round, the fact that they let them fall to, I was just like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
And I couldn't believe it. Yep.
Who is that defensive lineman they got from Georgia? What's his name?
Jalen Carter.
Big dude, Jalen Carter.
Yep, Jalen Carter.
How did the league and the NFC East let Jalen Carter go to the Eagles?
I was surprised Seattle didn't take him. Now, granted, I like Seattle's pick. I like the cornerback that they took. But that guy, with a recent troubled history, I'm like, this just sounds like a Pete Carroll player that he brings in. And a defensive lineman at that. I thought Seattle was going to snag him, but no, he fell down to the Eagles, man. And that was just wild.
But wild. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts, as far as like last year, how the Super Bowl ended, he's going to be on a mission this year. But going back to last season, we're talking about last season. Yeah, I mean, a few tough games. I don't think anybody was expecting us to get blown out by Detroit. I know I wasn't expecting that. But then again, the Lions...
That's NFL football. It's NFL football.
Any given Sunday. I think Dan Campbell is a great head coach. And the Lions, they actually had some depth at running back last year. They had Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, that 1-2 combo back there in the backfield. Jared Goff, say what you want about Jared Goff. He's been there. He's been to the big game. He knows how to win big games. He had that shootout with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs a few years ago as well, that classic Monday Night Football game. So Jared Goff ain't no slouch. He's got some experience under his belt.
You don't feel good about Jared Goff winning you a game, but he's probably not going to lose you one, right? He's not going to. He's experienced enough. You put the right weapons around him. He'll be able to. He can game manage.
Yeah. And we've struggled with Dallas for the past several years. I think it's been like 6 years that we are completely defeated against the Cowboys. Now, this year we played Dallas Week 1 Sunday Night Football at New York in the Meadowlands. So that'll be a good one. That'll be a real good first test. But I mean, and then just getting swept by the Eagles and getting swept by Dallas, that obviously isn't ideal. Like you said, we snuck our way into the playoffs. We got that big win against Minnesota. I think last year was kind of like a confidence boost season.
Yep.
Like, okay, we know that we have the talent around us. Are we there yet? No, but we're this close.
Time to take the next step. This is the year to take the next step.
Yep.
I got to get to this real quick. Derpy has something for you. Sorry, Derpy. It took me a while. It says, I fear. I honestly think the Giants are the most optimistic team for the future in the NFL, depending on Danny Dimes and Saquon. Stop being, whiny bitch and winning Super Bowl first before the bag. I think what he's trying to say is if you don't prove it in the playoffs, you shouldn't get the bag. I think he's talking about Saquon.
Talk about Saquon, yeah.
I don't know, man. It's all about getting your money, man. If you're a player, I'm never against a player wanting to get his money. Other than Kyler Murray, you guys were talking about him earlier today on the show. He did something that, you guys were talking about his contract. His contract, they can't cut him until 2028 because it hasn't even started. The extension hasn't started because he asked for an extension after year 3, which is unprecedented. It's usually after year 4.
And they picked up his 5th year too on that rookie contract.
Yep. So I was looking at his contract breakdown the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, they're stuck with this guy because they're talking about trading him. And I'm like, good luck trading him. Who's going to take that contract on? Unless he comes back healthy. Looks good at the end of this season, then we'll see. But what's your thoughts on what Derpy had to say here?
I get where he's coming from. I think Daniel Jones did prove the bag. A lot of people said that the Giants overpaid him. I think he's making 41 or 42 million a year, something like that.
That's cheap for a starting quarterback nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. And Daniel Jones, I've been on record to say this. I want to see kind of what you think about this. I'm not talking about overall quarterback play. If we're talking about overall quarterback play, obviously it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers. That is the epitome of great quarterback play in the NFL. If we're talking about athletes, quarterbacks that are just flat out football player athletes, I'd say Daniel Jones is probably the second most athletic quarterback in the NFL. I'd say the first is probably Jalen Hurts. As far as athletes go, Jalen Hurts is probably the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. Daniel Jones is probably second, and Lamar Jackson might be third as far as just athletic athletes. And Josh Allen, you might be able to replace Lamar Jackson with Josh Allen at 3. But Patrick Mahomes, he's great. He does stupid, dumbass shit with how good he is with some of these unorthodox throws. He has the ability to extend plays. Same thing with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, his accuracy is just off of the charts. Like you cannot debate that. But you're not going to see Joe Burrow rush for 2 touchdowns and 80 yards like Daniel Jones will.
And I think part of it has to do with age too, because I think Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, they're at that point in their career. They don't want to be running the ball. They shouldn't be running the ball unless they absolutely have to. They still can. But yeah, I think he's up there. He's in the mix. I think overall as a quarterback, Daniel Jones is probably, on average, he's probably the 12th, 13th, 14th best QB in the league with the potential to be a top 10 if he has the potential to get there. And we'll
I
see.
think this year could be the year where he breaks the top 10. As far as one of the best quarterbacks. But you know what I'm saying about being an athlete with Daniel Jones? The dude is an athlete. He's got wheels. He's got a good arm. And last year, his first 3 seasons, he was a turnover machine. Last year, I think he threw under 5 picks the entire season last year.
Let's pull it up. I'll pull it up.
It was like 5 or 6. It was like 5 or 6 picks last year. Could have been less. Rarely turned over the ball last year. He had a big fumbling problem. He did not have that last season. I think bringing in Dabes just completely revitalized Daniel Jones as a player.
I like your coach. I do, Dabo. Yeah. I like him a lot. It's not pulling this up for me. I want 2022. But yeah, he had a great season. And guess what? Josh Allen was the same way. Josh Allen, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is his prove it year." I mean, is he going to turn? He couldn't complete. What was it? His percentage? He was completing like 60% of his passes only and stuff like that. He turned that around. He kind of got a little bit more accurate, and that's what took Buffalo to the next step. And took him to the next step. So we'll see. I do think, I think you got a point. He's very, very athletic. He can use that athleticism now, but hopefully, while he's using that athleticism, it's helping him also take time to develop as a quarterback in the league, because he's not always going to be the most athletic out there. But we'll find out. This is going to be a big year to find out about that.
Yeah, and especially going into this next season, I think part of his running game, how his ability to run, obviously piggybacked off of the threat of Saquon.
Yeah. Patriot 4-65, who is a Cowboys fan, by the way, he says, let's hope he's athletic enough to run away from Parsons.
Hey, dude, Parsons.
He's going to throw.
Parsons is no joke, man. He's no joke. He gave me a lot of nightmares last year when the Giants were playing the Cowboys, so I get where he's coming from.
Yeah, no doubt. A hell of a player. All right, let's get into their draft. Usually this is where Crickett comes in because he knows all these college football players and whatnot. But I'll just ask you your opinion of this. So round 1, 24th overall, they take a cornerback, Deonte Banks out of Maryland. How'd you feel about this one?
I liked it. I felt like for the past few seasons, especially with Gettleman, the Giants' defense was always weak and small. just physically looking at the Giants on defense under Gettleman, we had small dudes. We didn't have any big fucking guys, except for Leonard Williams, who was on the line. We didn't have any big guys. Our defense was always kind of just undersized, and we were getting run up on. Where I like picking defense, that corner in the first round. I like it. I'm a big fan of that pick, and especially a lot of the trades and pickups that we did, and like drafting Thibodeau last year.
I was say, did Gettleman draft him, or was that not Gettleman last year?
No, so Thibodeau was Joe Schuin.
Okay,
So
yeah, I loved that draft pick. I
Yep.
loved it when the Giants. I go, wow, the Giants actually did something smart there, and I thought that was a hell of a play, and it's turning out, or a hell of a pick, and it's turning out to be so.
Yeah, we had 2 picks in the top 10 last year. We picked Evan Neal, tackle from Alabama, and then we picked Thibodeau. And those were Joe Schuin's 2 first picks for the Giants as their general manager.
And when that happened, I go, oh my God, the Giants did something smart. You took a big lineman, which you need to protect your quarterback, and you took an explosive, probably, who's showing probably going to be an all-pro linebacker at some point, right? Defensive end linebacker combo.
Yeah, he's like an edge rush. He's kind of like a DeMarcus Ware who stands up.
Yeah. So I mean, great picks. And obviously, I had been following him because he went to Oregon, so I've seen him play. And,
right.
Yeah.
So just building up our defense has been one of my biggest concerns, as well as building up our offensive line, because we completely wasted Eli's last like 3 or 4 years in the league just simply by having a shit offensive line. Eli didn't have any time back there. He was just a sack machine, just completely tallying up all those sacks. We wasted the end of Eli's career, which is heartbreaking for me. But Joe Schuin coming in, having a good draft last year, and I think an even better draft this year. I'm a big fan of this picking Banks in the first round.
Patriot 4165 says, who's kicking for the Giants? It is Graham Gano.
Graham Gano,
kicking for the Giants.
He's pretty automatic.
Then round 2, you went with the big boy center out of Minnesota. They got some good
John Michael
out of there.
Schmitz.
Was he the second center taken, I think, in this draft? So
yeah,
he was up there.
He's got high praise out of training camp. So yeah, he's going to be a rookie. He's going to be facing the big boys in the NFL. So this year, he's he might not have the best year this year just because he's got to get used to the muscle memory of having to deal with these big guys, these big defensive linemen in the NFL. So I'm not expecting him to have a great season. He's not going to be no like Quentin Nelson as far as like a pancake machine. But I like this pick. I think in next year or in 2 years, this dude is going to be an all-pro center.
Well,
he's gotten a lot of praise.
The position, listen, everyone gets hyped about the draft and who people drafted. Rookies rarely make an impact year one.
Right.
I would argue running backs probably the most impactful out of rookies, if you're talking rookies, then defensive linemen, and then offensive linemen. So, I mean, you got an offensive lineman here. I'd say you can plug in an offensive lineman to start in the NFL.
He's going to start.
Feel pretty good.
He's
that's what I'm saying, but
sure.
he can be impactful. Most of the time, rookies, it's hit or miss, right? I guess quarterbacks nowadays are kind of, even then though, I mean, rookie quarterbacks, it's all about see what we got and like hope. There's a reason why rookie quarterbacks never won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So
and we got
we'll
4 or 5 of them starting this year. Rookie quarterbacks. We got a lot.
Dude, I don't know how you feel about Bryce Young, but I was, after watching the preseason and stuff like that, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how he's going to do in the NFL. Jesus.
I have been saying this. I think that Bryce Young, he's been sitting behind an NFL caliber offensive line over at Alabama for the past 2 years. I think he's gonna play throughout his rookie contract with Carolina, but I think Bryce Young is gonna be a career backup. I'm not necessarily saying bust. He's not going to be Jamarcus Russell or a Ryan Leaf style.
He could be a Baker Mayfield, right?
Right. Baker Mayfield, maybe a little less talented because Baker Mayfield's still getting starting jobs here and there. So I think Bryce Young, he's just, I don't know. I think he played in a good program at Alabama with an NFL caliber offensive line. He had protection, probably a little bit overvalued and overhyped. I think Bryce Young, after about 4 seasons, I would be surprised if Carolina picks up his 5th-year deal, and you might see him become a career backup. Which, that's a good living, man. That's a good living. I don't know. I know that's not what Bryce Young wants.
Yes, it is. You get $4 million to be a backup for 1 year. Easy.
If you
money.
can be the next Chase Daniels, that is the life right there. If you could
Sam
be the next
Darnold
Chad
got
Henne.
$4 million from San Francisco this year, and at the time he was the third string. But you don't bring in Sam Darnold and pay him $4 million if you think he's going to be third string, right? That's your backup. So that's why I always said, I go, Trey Lance isn't going to be the backup for San Francisco if Purdy comes back. It's going to be Sam Darnold, and yeah, so. You're right. You're spot on there. King Kane says, being the defensive ball control coach I would draft linemen in every round. I mean, that sounds just too simple. There are a lot of busts on offensive and defensive line. There's a lot of busts. You just don't hear about it because it's not
sexy.
No, the big uglies, right? We don't hear about it.
Yep.
This was a big wide receiver draft. A lot in the first round. It looks like, God, I wish Crickett was here because he's a Tennessee fan, so he could tell us a little bit. But how'd you feel about Jalen Hyatt?
Jalen Hyatt, I love this pick. Dude is a speedster. He's got legs, and he's also got good hands too, man. I think this was a steal in the third round. I think a lot of people think that as well. Dude had a very impressive preseason. I think he's a little small. He's a little skinny. I question his durability, but, a lot of the more modern wide receivers nowadays are those skinny kind of little guys. I mean, just look at Devontae Smith out of Philly. And that dude, he's a baller. He's an absolute gamer. So I'm really hyping up Jalen Hyatt. I think he's going to play a big role in our offense this year. He's going to be if he doesn't start, he's at least going to be rotating in. A lot. Every single drive, he's going to be rotating in. And I mean, that's just the name of the NFL. I mean, starting wide receiver, only means so much. You get a big play, you're going to get rotated out for the guy who's right behind you. So Jalen Hyatt, I'm really excited for this guy. Good pick, and I think that's a steal for the third round. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially with that speed, the different packages you could put him in there. Kind of, especially with some of the defenses that you have in that division, you're gonna need a guy that can just take the top off to keep the defense on it. So I like it. I like that pick. Then hey, fifth round, let's take a stab at a running back, Oklahoma running back Eric Gray. Why not?
Yep.
Get some fresh legs in there.
Exactly. Why not get a young guy? He's going to be cheap, fresh legs, just like you said. Also, we weren't sure what was going on with Saquon at the time. We weren't sure. That was still up in the air whether he was going to test free agency. Was he going to sign a long-term deal, or was he going to sign that franchise tag? We didn't know. And just to get a young, fresh set of legs behind Saquon, which I figured that they were optimistic that Saquon would come back. But, just like we were talking about with the wide receivers, Saquon he's not an every down back. Eric Gray is going to be getting time. He's going to be getting time. He's going to be seeing reps. So, this guy went. Don't look that he was taken in the fifth round, right? A lot of people are like, oh, just a fifth rounder. This dude went to Tennessee and transferred to Oklahoma. If you're good enough to play at Oklahoma, man, you're a talented running back. Okay? Absolutely,
you've got the skills to play running back in the NFL.
Absolutely, and I value this pick because I'm not a big believer in drafting running backs in the first round unless you have a generational talent like Adrian Peterson or let's say a Saquon. I mean, just take Zeke Elliott for example. Dude had a good rookie year and then kind of fell off every single year after that, and now he's on a second team with the Patriots, just signing a 1-year deal. Like Zeke Elliott kind of became a joke, a laughingstock, almost. So. Drafting running backs in the first round is always a big what if. You never know. Unless you know for sure, like it's an AP or a Saquon, that this guy is going to be a baller. So getting a good quality running back in the fifth round, again, I think this is a steal.
I usually only like it if it's towards the end of the first round and you're already, obviously you're a good team. That's why you're at the end of the first round, but you've already got your team, a solid team around you. And there's a good running back in there. Like we saw, even though he's kind of fell off now, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Chiefs a few years back, he had a good season. And they took him at the end of the first round, but I don't blame the Falcons either. Classic Falcons though, to go after the flashy player for taking Bijan Robinson. That's a type of guy that I'm like, okay, that's like a Christian McCaffrey type of player. That's this new age NFL style of football player that you need, a guy that can catch, cut, be shifty, like Bijan is. So I wasn't mad at Atlanta taking him there, especially since they think
and
they
then
got
also look at Minnesota, they had Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook he was fantastic. He was the workhorse for the Vikings for several years, and then his backup Mattinson. And Mattinson eventually he replaced Dalvin Cook, drove him out of town.
Yep.
because Madison
Yep.
was just, he was just a gamer.
Yep. That's the NFL at quarterback or at running back. So,
Yep.
and then what do we got? We got 6th round. We got Trey Hawk. I mean, some of these late round picks, it's kind of, you're just hoping. You're just taking a chance, hoping we find a diamond in the rough. So we got Trey Hawkins, cornerback out of Old Dominion. We got Jordan Riley, defensive tackle out of Oregon.
Yep.
And how do you Owens? We're gonna say Owens.
Javarius Owens.
There we go.
Yeah. And that's just more shoring up our defense, getting some depth on defense, especially in our secondary, taking that corner and safety. Xavier McKinney, who is awesome, Xavier McKinney, but he fucked up last year. Remember, he got in that ATV accident, broke his hand.
That's
and
right.
Then he broke his hand. He missed several games, and then he came back for the playoffs, and he wasn't really as effective as he was in the beginning of the season. So I think this is just shoring up our defense, getting some depth. We have to compete with Philly in this division because the NFC East proved last year that we're back being the NFC Beast. The NFC East was the most competitive division in the NFL last year, and if we're going to have any shot at competing for the title of the NFC East, which I think Philly is probably still the favorite to repeat, I mean, we're hoping for a wild card. I think that's the realistic expectations, is that the Giants get a wild card. But if we are going to compete with Philly, we need depth on defense, just like Philly has. So this is just shoring up some depth, these last few picks.
Yeah, I definitely think, just glancing at it, if I was forced to pick it, like to bet it, I'd probably take the Cowboys. But if I was looking for a long shot, some good odds, I'd take the Cowboys for sure. Or I'd take the Giants for sure in that one. Because I mean, we'll get to their schedule. We'll see. That's a big part of it. A lot of people don't look at the schedule because there's some of these teams, as we've done all summer long. So this is the last team we've been saving it, but we covered every single team each morning. We would go live and pick one team and do this kind of breakdown. And it's really helpful because you forget like what they did in the offseason, right? And the new changes, new coaches. But you also, a lot of people don't look at the schedule, and scheduling matters. Like there's some teams that have like 4 straight road games, or just got to go international, come back, and it's you can definitely see some weak spots in a lot of teams' schedule that a lot of people overlook because they just look at the name of the team. Yeah. Okay. So there, we got that. Let's go to free agency because I know you're excited about this. So obviously, I'll let you choose what you want to talk about. I think the biggest thing, they extended Daniel Jones. I'll pull up his contract. Obviously, they came to terms with Saquon Barkley. My opinion on that was, I know you wanted them to extend him.
Yep.
I think as a team, they did it. They did the smart thing. I think it was smart to take one more year and not pay him big money yet. I know it's going to cause some damage, between him and management and whatnot, and we'll see. But I think as a team, that was a smart thing to do. So I know as a fan, everyone wants him there, and I get it. I get why. But I think the biggest thing was getting Darren Waller, man. Waller.
Yep. Getting Darren Waller, as long as he stays healthy, he is one of the best tight ends.
Oh, boy. Sorry, my little ones ran in on me.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sorry. Anyways, go on.
Darren Waller, Darren Waller, when he's healthy, he's one of the best tight ends in the league, for sure. So Darren Waller, he's listed as a tight end, but he's kind of like a wide receiver tight end hybrid. So dude is just, he's an absolute just talent that we would happen to get from Vegas for nearly nothing. I think it was like a 3rd or 4th rounder that we got him for. And that was based off of the trade when we traded Tooney.
Yeah, and they don't even, I thought they listed the trades on here as well. This is just straight free agency. Hold on, I'll pull up the actual trade. Darren Waller trade. But honestly, I think Darren Waller was sandbagging last season a little bit. I think he didn't want to be there.
Could be.
And I think he's actually, I mean, he's super talented, man. I think he's super talented. The change of scenery. I think we could see a big season from him. Granted, he stays healthy.
I agree. I agree. Those lingering injuries is definitely a concern. But Darren Waller, I mean, if he stays healthy, he's going to be an absolute difference maker. What
better weapon to get your newly extended quarterback, right? Yes. A tight end, an outlet that he can go to and trust. So the Giants sent
he targeted him.
Yeah,
he targeted him all preseason. Like I think our starters only played one drive I think Daniel Jones only played one drive of one game, and that was against Carolina. And Daniel Jones went like 9 for 10 or 8 for 9, and 5 of those completions went to Waller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're not really even paying. I mean, he's 30 years old. You give up a third-round draft pick, and you've got him under contract for the next 4 seasons let's see, thanks to a 3-year, $51 million extension. We all know that's funny money. It's probably 35 of that's guaranteed. But you got 2 or 3 years him locked in there, and I mean, and what should be his prime for a tight end should be his prime. Right. 30 years old, right? He can still do it for. I mean, hell, Kelsey's 34, and he's still out there balling. So,
he's still in his prime.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's see. Who do we got? They lost. So I guess their biggest signing was Bobby Okereke from Indy.
Okereke.
Okereke. Okay. I am terrible at pronouncing names.
Yeah.
The running joke is, chat loves when I try to pronounce MLB starting pitchers' names. I can tell you, I can pronounce. So I don't know if you know, I'm a pharmacist, so I can pronounce drug names, and I think all my brain power went to that. And when it comes to people's names, I go stupid.
No, I get it, man. Some of these names are just ridiculous nowadays. But yes, I mean, for the longest time, I was pronouncing his name Okereke.
That sounds good too.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cooler, Bobby Okereke. But I was watching preseason, and they were pronouncing it Okereke. So I was like, okay, I've been a fucking idiot this entire time pronouncing this guy's name.
All you got to do is say it with confidence. That's what I tell people. Like when we drug names, I go, just say it with confidence. No one's going to question you.
Right. Just but yeah, a lot of high hopes for Okereke for sure. And then also not only the addition of Okereke, but getting Isaiah Simmons for hardly anything.
Oh yeah, that's not even on this list. But got 7th round pick. Yeah, man. Another guy who's going to want to prove it too, and I'm pretty sure he's in a contract here.
Yeah,
so he's going to want to ball out.
So find ways to use have him. Nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose with this guy because if he balls out, we'll sign him for a short contract. And if he doesn't, we can walk away and just wipe our hands. And, it was a fun experiment. We brought him in for some depth. But I think Isaiah Simmons, he is so talented and so versatile. He can drop back into coverage. He can rush the passer. And having Isaiah Simmons coming off as like almost like a roaming linebacker, which sounds weird to say, but that's kind of how he plays. Having Thibodeau and Simmons rushing the passer, like that is going to be a lethal combo.
You got to have the right coach in place for it, and
Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale is the guy.
Yep, I fully expect them to have that done. So then it looks like the Giants lost Nick Gates and Julian Love to Washington to Seattle. But they addressed that in the draft. So re-signed Darius Slayton. Let's see. Basically, so this is. I always tell people this is what the contract says when you see on ESPN 2 years, $12 million. Here's the real contract. You look at the potential out. So 1 year, he basically signed a 1 year, $6 million because that means they can cut him next year, and it's nothing. It's nothing to them. So NFL contracts are so damn confusing. So
I'm also excited for Paris Campbell. He had a very good preseason.
You're just getting all the Indianapolis players.
Well, in a new regime, that's to be expected. New regime coming into Indianapolis. They want to bring their own guys in there. So, I mean, you see that a lot when a new regime comes in. They just kind of look at Arizona. They're getting rid of fucking everybody. But that could also be because they're tanking for Caleb Williams.
They are. They absolutely are. You guys were talking about that earlier, and I just want to be like, listen, I know the players don't tank, but management does and ownership does. And there's no better way that proves that than the fact that Colt McCoy took all the first team reps all summer long, and then you decide to cut him less than 2 weeks before your first game. You bring in Josh Dobbs, right, who's thrown 85 passes in his career, and you've got a 5th round rookie behind him, who actually the 5th round rookie might play week 1. They haven't officially announced it yet. I know Dobbs is saying that he's expecting to be the starter, but still, I mean, man, you are not giving yourself a chance to win there. Not saying Colt McCoy is anything great, but the fact that you spent all summer having him take the first team reps.
And Colt McCoy is a distinguished, he wasn't a distinguished starter, but at least a distinguished backup.
And he had been there last year. He went and played some games. He won some games last year for Cardinals. Maybe that's why they're mad at him.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, some other guys on here. I mean, just a bunch of smaller signings. Some guys that hope kind of fill out. Jameson Crowder there, got him from Buffalo, 1-year contract, another wide receiver, just kind of a little plug and play that we see from a lot of these teams. Let me pull up that Daniel Jones contract. I know it doesn't kick in this year, I don't think.
No, it is this year because we didn't pick up his 5th year.
Okay, so it does start this year. Well,
yep.
It's still very friendly this year. So if you go over here,
we'll see. We'll see what the numbers are.
It's against the cap. Why he's only a $21.7 million hit for starting quarterback. That's great. Right. But yeah, essentially this is a 2-year deal because they could cut him after next season if it doesn't work out. So it worked out for both guys. Daniel Jones got paid. Giants got to see if they've got their guy that can take, as we were talking about, can take the next step. Yep. He's only a $45 million cap hit next year, and after that, if he's not the guy, you cut him, and it's only $18 million dead cap, which is not bad, but you can spread that out over the next 2 years, so it's not terrible. There's worse contracts out there, but
right.
If he is the guy, then you got a guy on a really nice deal the next 2 seasons after this one, only a $45 million cap hit and only less than $40 million the next year. And then you're going to have to extend them after that. But I think what do you think about the contract?
I liked it. I was always talking with my dad. I was always like, listen, we need to sign DJ first before we sign Saquon. Everyone's like, no, you got to lock up Saquon. Daniel Jones isn't the guy. Having watched every single Giants game for the past, 15 years, watching every single snap of the Giants, Daniel Jones, we need to lock him up. And I've argued about this with my buddies. There's Saquon is your best player on offense. No, he's not. Daniel Jones is our best player that we have on offense. Saquon is great. Saquon, definitely, I think the offense opens up when you have Saquon back there. It allows Daniel Jones to, mix things up and do certain things, and especially for his running game, absolutely. But Daniel Jones, he's the guy. He is the guy. So you got to lock up your quarterback first, and then we wound up getting both of them. It's not like Saquon walked, tried to test free agency. No, we got both of our guys, so it all worked out, and I'm happy we got Daniel Jones long-term because I do believe in Daniel Jones. If you would have asked me 2 years ago if I believed in Daniel Jones, I'd been like, let's see if we can, be interested in, a few years from now, 2 or 3 years from now, let's draft Arch Manning. Be like, let's just tank for the next 4 or 5 years. Build up some offensive line, get some picks, and let's build around Arch Manning in 5 years.
No one wants to tank after a playoff win, right? No one wants to do that. And who are you going to go get, right? Who are you going to get?
Yeah, right.
No,
it's a quarterback-driven league, and there's only a handful of good quarterbacks. And the fact that last year, with a new regime and a new head coach, and Daniel Jones performing the way he did, I'm like, okay, maybe we have something here.
Maybe we do. Okay, let's get into their schedule this year. Let's see. All right, Sunday Night Football. Normally we play Guess the Lines. It's way too hard to do without Crickett here. It's because, it was fun. Basically, the chat would set an over-under of how many I got correctly, and I couldn't tell you how many I would miss by the hook. It was
oh man,
it was fun. The chat loved it. Crickett loved it. Let's see. So going to home against Dallas, Sunday Night Football this coming Sunday, 1 week from tonight.
Yep.
How you feeling?
Little nervous. I feel better. I feel better that it's at home. I do. I think the Giants are going to go out there. I think that there's a lot of doubters. A lot of people think that last year was a fluke, how well the Giants did. And of course, everybody, every single year, they always hype up the Cowboys. This is the Cowboys' year. Yeah. This is the Cowboys' year. The Cowboys. I'm not impressed. So we'll see. I think even though Kellen Moore, while he is a little bit of a spotty play caller sometimes, he was still, I think losing him is going to hurt Dallas more than it helps.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I'm excited to see what he does over in LA with the Chargers and that squad. They're pretty excited about it too. Hearing Keenan Allen talk about it and whatnot. So I think that's a huge loss, but we'll find out. Let's see.
I'm gonna
Patriot 465 is not gonna like this.
I'm gonna go Giants at home, not by much. I think
not by much. Field goal game,
a field goal or a touchdown at the end of the game. I think this was going to be a defensive battle, probably a low scoring game.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Both teams trying to, fill things out and, first game of the season, Sunday Night Football. I'm gonna go Darren Waller, first touchdown scorer of the game. I'm gonna do that.
There you go. That's a good prop bet.
Gonna get like probably 12-1 on that one. So why not throw some money that way? Then we're gonna go. It's week 2 down to Arizona. After Arizona will also be playing on the East Coast, so everyone will be flying back to Arizona. You gotta like your chances there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Giants, probably big.
Okay,
Giants big by 2 touchdowns probably.
Oh man,
two scores.
They'll probably just stay out West Coast because they got a Thursday night game against San Francisco right after that. That one, it's gonna be rough. That might be another low scoring. Yeah,
this is all going to depend on Brock Purdy's health. Is he confident in his throwing abilities coming off of that Tommy John surgery that he had to get? Yeah, I think this really boils down to San Francisco and how dialed they are in on offense. I think the Giants will put up points. That San Francisco defense is no joke, though. I again, like you said, low scoring, probably a defensive struggle. But you're
gonna be probably a 4.5 point dog in that game, I would guess. If San Francisco is San Francisco that we expect, Purdy looks decent. It's probably a 4.5 point dog.
Yeah,
on the road.
I'm gonna say we. Man, it's so hard for me to bet against my Giants. I'm such a homer. I think I could
at least you admit it though.
Like I could literally look at this schedule and be like, yeah, we're going 17-0. Like, but I'm gonna try to be realistic here. I think San Fran will probably take this game. I think we'll fall to 2-1 after playing San Fran in San Francisco.
I like this next game. Look at that. You get extra rest because it's a Monday night game after coming off a Thursday night. You're home. Little revenge spot against Seattle from last year. I kind of like that. I think this one's going to be a field goal game. I think too many people are hyped up on Seattle right now, but I think the Giants are going to I think they're going to win this by a field goal, but I think it's going to never be in doubt. It's not going to be a last-second field goal. I think they're going to have controlled the game, and I think they're going to take care of business at home against Seattle.
Now, this one I can see being a shootout. For sure.
Shootout. Ooh, okay.
I think it could. Geno Smith, say what we want about Geno Smith. I think he proved himself a little bit last year as
I'm just glad
passer.
He got paid. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
10 years in the league and he made more money than he did, like a ton more money than he did over those 10 years and just this one contract.
I do have a little bit of bitterness against Geno Smith because he was the guy, he was in New York and he was the guy that ended Eli Manning's consecutive starting streak. Fuck Geno Smith, but also good for Geno Smith. And you know what else? Geno Smith stole Saquon's comeback player of the year.
True.
Geno Smith didn't really come back from anything except for sucking. At least
I hate that rule. Rule because like Russell Wilson's on that list this year, and I'm like, he played the whole year. What are you?
He played the whole year. All he did was suck. It's like, come on, Saquon actually was coming back from injury. Saquon should have won comeback player. I don't
make
think
it a different award. Like have the injury one, and then have the
most improved.
There we go.
Right,
exactly.
But I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants at home Monday night against Seattle.
Ooh, and then 2 tough games here. You got to go down to Miami. Shouldn't be too hot down there. I mean, it'll still be warm, but not like first week of the season warm, right? And then at Buffalo. Oh, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. So at Miami, that would be a fun one. Talk about shootout.
Yeah, this one as well, I think will be a shootout. I'm hoping that Dexter Lawrence just, lays out Tua. Tua goes all, he goes all stiff, lights out, and, we have to play Miami with their backup quarterback for the remainder of the game. I think, being realistic, I hope Tua doesn't get injured. I hope he stays healthy, but I'm going to go Giants, man. I'm going to go Giants at Miami. I'm
trying to find the lines here, but I'm pretty sure Giants are going to be somewhere around a 4.5, 5 point dog in this one, just because it's down in Miami. Yeah. But I think that defensive line is going to get to Tua and throw some timing off, and I think the Giants win it.
Yeah, I think the Giants win, and also just depending on how the first 4 weeks go, that line's going to shift. That line will shift depending on how Miami does and how the Giants do on that record. The line will shift. It's way too early for some of these later games to look at the line and take it at as face value. But I'm going to go Giants on top in Miami.
I like it. Then they got to go to Buffalo. Now that's not going to be fun.
Chalk this up as an L. Sunday night football. I think Buffalo's going to take it.
I'll tell you this. I have a ticket and it's one of my bold predictions. I bet last year Arizona finished last in their division, which now everyone's like, well, duh. But going into last season, that was not the case.
Right, right.
I have Buffalo finishing last in their division. I'm under on their win total. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It's and
What's
this
your
isn't
thought
just a
on that?
homer
What's your
thing.
thought process there?
You got Miami. Okay, Miami, solid team. I think Miami actually could win the division. The Jets, they just need Aaron Rodgers to be an average quarterback. That team is just stacked.
Oh my gosh.
Salah's doing a great job there. My Patriots are never an easy out. I'm not trying to be a homer here, but I mean, the Patriots always seem to be around 500, never an easy out. And the main thing with Buffalo here is we saw what happened last year when you had Von Miller go out, and then I think the glue guy of that defense is Jordan Poyer. I actually played against him in high school.
Right. Right. Oh, cool.
He when he was out and Von Miller were out, that defense was suspect. Everyone tells me that they have so much depth on defense. I'm like, we didn't see it last year. Now you got Von Miller out already to start the season, at least for 4 weeks. Better hope Poyer doesn't get injured. We'll see, but I think, and then God forbid if Josh Allen gets injured. But I just think there's too much pressure on Buffalo. I know you've said the same thing. This is their last year to get it done, to get to the Super Bowl, and they want to win it. But
I agree.
This is the last year. You start losing games, that locker room is gone. You're going to have Stephon Diggs just running his mouth. We've already seen it this
He already
offseason.
wants to get out.
Exactly. So you start losing games you shouldn't lose. I think it can spiral out of control real fast in Buffalo.
I agree. And this morning on Sports Wars, I was getting a lot of shit in the chat saying, oh, Beardo, that's an L take. I don't think so. I think this is Buffalo's year. If they don't go to the Super Bowl, I think this team is going to implode. I think that Sean McDermott's going to lose his job, and I think they're going to get rid of a lot of players. And the only real key factor player that they're going to keep is Josh Allen. If they don't go to the Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl or bust for Buffalo. And like you said, if they start losing a couple games in the regular season, you're going to see a lot of players. That locker room is going to get a little antsy.
After this season, they still have 2 more years that they have to keep Von Miller. That's Von Miller coming off of ACL injuries, already not starting this season. And we're talking like they could cut him, but it would be ridiculous dead cap wise to cut him because of that contract that they gave him. It'd be stupid. They'd have to keep him, and you don't know what you're going to get from him. So I don't know. We'll see. I like your guys. I like your chances there in Buffalo. We'll see what happens.
You do? Okay.
I like your chances. I do. If like we've been talking about, if Giants take the step that we think that they can take, I think they're going to be competitive against these big boys, all these good teams.
Okay.
Then we got home against Washington. I mean,
chalk that up as a dub.
And a fun game against, you get to take on, bring in Aaron. Oh, I guess it's home game for both teams, but bring in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, bring on Aaron Rodgers. That'll be another fun game.
Yeah, this one I can see as well being a shootout. The Jets have a great defense. Giants have a great defense, but I think with Aaron Rodgers, we're going to have to keep up pace with Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jets are going to put up points probably, and the Giants are just going to have to keep up. So I can see this being a somewhat high-scoring game. Probably, some big plays on defense, whether it be a turnover via fumble or interceptions. I think defense is going to play a factor, but ultimately the Giants are going to have to keep up with the Jets in this game. But
this is the game that having Darren Waller is a huge help.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to go Giants, but not by much.
Trying to burn that secondary, it's not going to work well. Trying to run against that defense, it's going to be tough even for Saquon. Being creative, doing screens, and also getting Darren Waller out there, that's how you're going to beat this New York defense. Huge pickup there. Okay, and then they go down to Vegas. Speaking of Darren Waller, little revenge. Oh my God, look at this though! 3 road games in a row. That's never fun.
No.
But yeah, how do you feel them at Vegas? Vegas is going to be a big old question mark this season.
I agree. I think the Giants win this game.
Okay, then at Dallas. I always just say in division, you go 1-1. You just flip them.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it.
I'm going to say in Dallas, there's a good chance we lose this game.
Yep. Then at Washington, they should be able to get a W there, although it might be ugly because back-to-back road games, going to be your 3rd straight road game. You got New England coming into town the following weekend.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I always hated is thinking that, we beat this team just a few weeks ago. Maybe the game got out of hand and we beat them by a lot. let's go ahead and just look forward to the next week, and we're going to look forward to New England, and we're just going to phone it in against Washington at Washington. I'd like to think that we can beat the Redskins in Washington, but like you said, with division games, it's kind of like a coin flip. You can always kind of assume 1-1 with a lot of these guys. But I'm going to say that we go in and we sweep Washington this season.
Yeah, I would agree. You should be favored in both games.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't like your odds though. If you beat Vegas and you beat Dallas, I definitely don't like your odds.
I think we'll probably
coming off a win in Dallas. You know what I mean?
We'll chalk up an L against Dallas, I think.
I'm just saying, if they somehow do beat Dallas in Dallas, I do not like them the following week. That's
really,
because they're going to be pumped. They're going to be like, it's just a little too hyped up. It's just sports, You're going to be feeling yourself a little too much.
Yeah.
Okay, then home against New England. That'll be a fun one.
That will be a fun one. That'll be. I don't have faith in Mac Jones. I don't have.
You know what I have faith in? You know, the biggest move the Patriots made this offseason is bringing in Bill O'Brien. Okay. Actually having an offensive coordinator, I think that was the biggest move. He works with Belichick well. He's under the Belichick tree. Say what you want about him being a GM. He's a terrible GM, but he's a hell of a head coach, and he's an even better offensive coordinator. Taking a young quarterback like Mac Jones, we're going to see. I'm optimistic, but we're going to see. Bill O'Brien, though, has some success getting these young quarterbacks.
Did Bill O'Brien? Who? Oh, no. So it was Sark. Mac Jones had Sark at Alabama, not Bill O'Brien. Okay. I mean, getting later into the season without having any games being played, we don't know what these teams look like or their record is. It's hard, week 12, having no kind of foresight of what it's going to look like. It's hard to predict. I'd like to think that we would take care of New England at home, but I mean, if New England surprises everybody and is having quite a decent season, this could be a tough one. But
here's what you got going for you in this one. This is why I think you win this one. New England, I believe it's like November 11th or around there. They have to play in Germany, and they're playing the Colts in Germany. And if you remember last year, after Seattle played in Germany, they just weren't the same. They just something about coming back from that trip. They were flat for several weeks after. So. Just something to think about.
I'm still going to go Giants.
I think a field goal game. I think it'll be close.
I agree.
Be a fun one, though. I'm excited for it. Then you get your much-needed bye week. Kind of a good time to hit a bye week, especially if you got some momentum going, and you're like, okay, we got 5 weeks. 5 games left to roll into the playoffs. Ooh, one thing I don't like, though, is the Philly you got at the end of the season. Damn.
And but you come off is specifically done because the NFL thinks it's going to be between us two for the division.
Yep. Just how Minnesota and Detroit are the same way. They have the same thing. That's why I took Minnesota plus 300 to win the division, because I'm like, it's going to come down to the final 3 weeks. I'll have a chance to hedge out of this somehow. So home Monday Night Football after your bye against Green Bay, Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. That'll be fun. This is two young QBs going at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is a dub for the Giants.
Yep.
This is a dub. I think the Packers. This is going to be a experiment. This is going to be an experiment year for the Packers. This is going to be.
I've heard a lot of good things out of that camp. I'm not saying they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. I think people are a little low on Green Bay. And myself included, I was too. But some of the things that I'm reading and hearing and seeing, I'm like, Green Bay might be a sneaky team this year.
They could be. I heard some comments from Ryan Clark saying that Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the NFC North. And it's like, come on. Kirk Cousins, man. You're overlooking Kirk Cousins, who is really the best quarterback in the NFC North, the most consistent quarterback in the NFC North. You're thinking that this guy who has never been a start. How many starts does he have under his belt? 3, maybe? Jordan Love? Maybe 3 starts?
I don't even think of that.
Maybe 2. 1 or 2, maybe.
He's got. My guy Ryan Clark forget about this? He forget about this guy right here?
Look at that swag, man. No, Jordan Love is not. He might be the 3rd best quarterback in that NFC. No, yeah, he might be the 4th. We're talking about Jared Goff too. Kirk Cousins and Goff, I think, are the best, and then you can make an argument for Fields. I don't think Fields is all. Fan. Neither am I. Neither am I at all. But at least he's got 2 years of experience starting. Jordan Love's got none.
Big old question mark. But I agree. I think they win that one.
I do too.
Ooh, you go down to New Orleans. That's never easy down there. New Orleans,
No.
their schedule this season is so easy. You just see the type of quarterbacks they have to play. It's ridiculous.
And this is a scary game because I think Derek Carr is going to be on a mission this year. He's going to be on a mission. And have you heard who the Saints have in their locker room now as an unpaid intern, like coach's assistant?
John Gruden.
John Gruden, baby.
Mm-hmm.
John Gruden's going to be in that locker room with the Saints.
Who coached up Derek Carr. Right?
Derek Carr and John Gruden have a great relationship.
They go to Hooters all the time.
This is a very scary game. This is a very scary game. This is one that I can see the Giants easily losing. Well, not easily losing, but like I can easily see the Giants losing a game like this because the Giants have a knack to playing to their competition level. Like if the team is really bad that they're playing, I've seen the Giants play really fucking bad football against a bad team. And then when it's a good team, all of a sudden they're playing on that same level with that team. That's just been notorious the way the Giants have played my entire life.
Potential playoff rankings here too, because granted, New Orleans should win their division, but for some odd reason, if they don't, then and both teams are wildcard teams, it will have an impact on who the head-to-head that season too. So kind of a big game here. Big game.
I'm gonna say safe bet. Maybe chalk this up as a loss for the Giants.
I think that's probably safe. That's gonna be a fun one. Then you guys get to play Christmas Day. That's gonna be fun down in Philly. Go slap them around. You got the whole world against you. Probably at this point, no one's gonna give you a chance in hell on Christmas. But we're gonna see a little Christmas surprise that day, or what?
No, I think in Philly. I think this is another safe bet to probably chalk this up as an L. Because I'm looking 2 weeks from now, that January 7th, Eagles at home, and this game will probably decide the division.
Yep, you're probably right.
I say in Philly, chalk it up as an L, but then we win the next 2 weeks and try to win the division.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the biggest blessings you got on this schedule is getting the Rams at the end of the season. I think the Rams are going to be better than people think, but you definitely want to play the Rams at the end of the season compared to the beginning because they're going to be way healthier at the beginning of the season than they are at the end of the season.
Right.
Not that we wish injury upon anyone. It's football is what it is. I don't see the Rams being all that healthy at the end of the year if last year was anything.
Speaking of the Rams, what's the over-under on when we see Stetson Bennett? When does he start? What's the over-under on what week?
It depends on Stafford's health, I think.
Exactly.
And
either his health or how effective he is, because he's getting to the tail end of he's already said that he's considered retirement before.
Yeah, true. You never want to hear a quarterback talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett didn't make the let me hold on. I'm gonna pull up their schedule real quick. I gotta see their schedule.
They drafted
I would
him.
say if they
drafted Stetson Bennett.
No, I know. I couldn't remember. Someone didn't. Oh, it was Max Duggan who didn't make the roster
from the Chargers. He got cut.
Yeah, that's who that was. I couldn't remember if it was him or Stetson Bennett, but I would say week 11 after their bye week, home against Seattle. If they're going to make a change, you go 9 games in and you realize the season's lost. You want to see what you have in Stetson Bennett. That would be my over/under is week 11 home against Seattle.
Yeah, I think, and from what I'm hearing out of that Rams camp, Stetson Bennett has looked impressive.
Well, he should. He's like 30 years old.
True. He is. He's an old man. But realistically, he's like 26, 27?
Yeah, who was it?
We're talking about
who just retired? We're
talking about Brandon Weeden?
Sony Michel.
Oh, Sony Michel. Yeah.
Had two Super Bowls, had a 5-year career, and played with Stetson Bennett in college.
Yep. But remember when Brandon Weeden came out of
he was 28.
Came out of Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State, yeah.
Beavers, right?
28. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like almost 30. He was almost 30 because he played in the MLB. He pitched for the Yankees, went back to college, became a quarterback, and was drafted by the Browns, and he was like 29 or 30 years old when he was drafted.
That's crazy. That was a wild time. That was a wild time.
I think it was Brandon Weeden.
It was Brandon Weeden. You're right.
Yeah.
It was him. So I usually use Bet Online. So so you feel good about the season then, huh?
I think how many losses did I chalk up for us? At least 5 or 6, right? We're gonna lose to Philly. That's one. Yeah. We'll probably lose to New Orleans. Chalk up a loss against Dallas. Loss against Buffalo, in my opinion, and then the loss to San Fran. That's 5 losses. So we'll go
6 losses. Throw one in there.
Yeah, you maybe throw one in. So 11-5, 12 and wait, no, sorry. 11-6, 11-6, or 12-5.
Yeah,
and I think that'll put us in competition to compete for the division.
Well, the odds makers, and we have to use DraftKings. I usually use Bet Online, but their site's not working right now. The draft makers have you at 7.5, or the odds. This is what the market's at. This is the market's so down on the Giants. They have you at 7.5, and getting the over to get to 8 wins, you're getting even money, plus 100 on that. Let's see. If you're optimistic that they'll get double-digit wins, you can get 3-1 on your money. If you think they're going to have at least a 10-win season, which I don't think is a bad bet after going through everything.
These experts are always down on the Giants. They're always down on the Giants. There's no love and no faith in Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, besides Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones might be the most hated quarterback in the league for God knows what reason. I don't know why he gets so much hate that he does, but he does.
It's New York. That's why. It's New York.
It's New York. Yeah, it's New York, and they like to make fun of him because of that one designed run he had, his sophomore year, two years ago against Philly, where he just broke out. He was untouched, and then he just tripped and fell.
Oh,
Remember that play?
Yeah.
He just tripped and fell right there on the 10-yard line. A lot of people like
scoring. Didn't they still end up scoring, I think, on that one?
Yeah. They wound up scoring on that drive, but I mean, he could have walked into the end zone, but he was just too fast for his own good. He just tripped and fell. I don't know.
He's that young freshman kid hasn't grown into his body. He's got those big feet.
He's a little awkward,
just stumbling around. Yeah. That's what it looked like. Odds to make the playoffs, plus 160 here. A little plus 160. If you think they're going to make the playoffs, I don't think that's a bad bet at all.
Right.
Let's see.
Well, and the fact that, post-COVID, now with they restructured the playoffs. There's that third wild card. I think it should be pretty easy for the Giants, whether they win the division or not. We're going to make the playoffs this year. I like
that they did that, because also you don't have the Eagles that say have the 1 seed again this year, or look like they're going to project it to get the 1 seed. Right. They're not necessarily going to sit their players the last week, because they need to ensure. Usually, you need to get a win to lock in that 1 seed, which is so valuable. So we get week 18 now.
It's more competitive.
It still matters.
Yeah.
Giants to win the division here, 9-1 on your money. That is. And you were saying the experts, when it comes to sports betting, the bookmakers, they just go where the money is. They set the lines of, okay, so when it says that everyone's low on the Giants, they're saying this is what the market thinks. This is what people are willing to bet.
Right.
People are willing to bet over under 7.5. That's where we can get, because they want 50. They want equal action on both sides, because that's how they make their money.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I'm
surprised Dallas. Surprised Dallas that they got Dallas better odds than the Giants.
Everyone PFF ranks Dallas's defense number 1 based off of what they did. Now they've got to prove it though. I mean, the Browns last year had the number 1 ranked defense on PFF before the season, and it didn't click. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think I might take a flyer on the Giants here. I think I might add them to my little portfolio.
I've convinced you.
9-1? Well, I mean, when we looked at the schedule, like you said, it's going to come down to the end. I'll find a way to hedge out and make money. That's what I like to do. I like to find, when it comes to futures bets, find a way that I think either I'm going to be right and this is going to be great, or I'll have a way to guarantee a profit towards the end of the season when the market moves.
Yeah.
We got that. To win the NFC, 28-1 on your money. If you think the Giants are going to the Super Bowl this year, and if you're diehard fan and you think they're going to win it all, you think this is their year, Danny Dimes going to get it done out there, where are we at?
Gonna have to scroll down a little lower, probably. Where are they?
Giants right there.
Oh, there they are.
65-1, tied with the Packers and the Patriots and the Commanders. Oh my God, what a slap!
That's ridiculous.
The Falcons have better odds. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's
the Bears. Oh geez, these lines. These dirty bookies.
Yeah, to me that doesn't make sense. I think the Giants, I mean, just without even taking a glance at the schedule, you can almost guarantee, I think any sane NFL fan would say that the Giants are going to finish the season with a better record than the Bears.
No, I agree with you. I agree
Yeah.
100%. Some of these lines though, they don't make sense. Like you'll see the futures to win the championship, but then you'll go look at the division and something doesn't add up.
Shit,
Just,
I might make a trip to Vegas and I might place some money on the Giants to win it all, man. Because if
There
they
we
do,
go.
I'm gonna be walking away with a lot of money.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh my goodness.